Hey guys, I'm Jim. I edit photos. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm playing around in Exposure X6. I did a first impressions video, which you can see there a while back, month and a half ago, something like that. And admittedly, I haven't spent a lot of time in X6 recently because I've been doing videos about other things. However, I like the product. It's really fun. And if you've been here before, you know that I'm considering options to replace Lightroom. I've been looking at a number of products to replace Lightroom in my workflow. I'm not in a hurry to do that. I'm taking my time. I'm working through lots of different products. And Exposure X6 is one that I wanted to come back to and take a closer look at. I've heard good things about it over the years, and I just wanted to find out for myself. Curiosity killed the cat, things like that. So I'm in Exposure X6 today. I'm just going to call it X6. It's going to be shorter and easier. And I'm just messing around with a photo. And you know, I basically found something about this product that I really like that I didn't expect to like, and that is they've got a whole lot of presets, and a whole lot of them are kind of film-related simulations, for lack of a better word, but they basically mimic film effects, so Kodak, or Kodachrome, Fuji, things like that. And it's not really something that I have really ever thought a whole lot about. I was never really a film photographer. I picked up a digital camera like, 10, 11 years ago, kind of started playing around. I was never really a film guy, developing my own film and all that stuff. So I don't have a background with those kind of things. But what I do like is creative editing and doing all that kind of stuff. And so in the past, one of the products I've used for that is in the Net collection. It's called Analog Effects Pro. It allows you to add things like light leaks and dust and scratches and stuff like that. But a lot of these presets that emulate some of the film looks have that as well. There's a lot of power, a lot of flexibility. I thought I'd walk through a few examples, so let's get going here. I'm in X6, and here's the main menu. Your editing panel's on the right-hand side. This is not going to be a tour of the product, but I like the fact that the product is fast, it's stable. I like all the tools on the right-hand side. There's a lot of them, but if you look at the presets over here on the left-hand side, there's a whole lot of them. I think their website says there's 500 or more, so I'm clearly not going to go through them all, but I wanted to walk through and kind of show off some of these for you to give you an idea what I like about them. Now, I've got a lot of photos from Route 66, including this one, and these kind of photos, this kind of what I call Americana, just like old America, for lack of a better word. I love stuff like this. That's why I like signs, I like graffiti, I like old places like this. It just kind of screams America to me. And I like to do kind of creative edits to some of these things, which include light leaks or texture or whatever. So what I found is that a lot of these presets are perfect for that. So let me jump in and just show off a few of these categories and the kind of things that you can do using X6. Now clearly I won't go through all of these, but I'm gonna start with black and white films. And one of the first things I noticed that I really like is that not just are there a whole lot of them, as I said, but you get the hover to discover kind of thing, right? So as you hover over these, you can see how they will look on the photo. And then of course, if you decide you like it, you can just one click and then it is applied to the photo. You can always hold down the space bar to show you the original and the current state. But then also, of course, you can come over here and make further adjustments. Maybe you want to lift the blacks a little bit. Maybe you want to lift the whites. Maybe you want to lift the shadows. I don't know. I'm just kind of playing around. I don't have a particular plan for this photo. And of course, you can always hit reset if you've decided that's not the look that you want. But lots and lots of looks here. I just love that. So I'm going to move on from this category. And I want to show you a category I've been having a lot of fun with, and that's bokeh. So here, basically, as you can see, as you hover over it, you get a description. And they've actually got different shapes of bokeh that are applied to the photo. This is actually a heart-shaped bokeh. Here's kind of a plus sign shaped bokeh. I like this one a lot. I think this one's a particularly cool one. This is a free lens tilted oval. So you've got kind of a tilted oval there with a bokeh and a light leak. And so here's the thing. You can come over here and you can go into overlays and you can find the light leak, which is right here. And you can zoom in and out, increase or decrease the opacity. And in fact, you can even change the light leak. And there are countless options here, which I think is just really fun and gives you a lot of creative possibilities. I'm going to close overlays and I want to go to the bokeh filter, which is down here. And here you can see that you have this tilted oval. Once I've clicked on that tool, you can see I've got this tilted oval, so I can increase or decrease the size of the center area, which is the area that's in focus. I can move it around the photo as well. And if I grab this dot, I can actually twist it as well as expand it. So maybe I want to do something a little bit like that to get a little bit more of that in focus and a little bit more blur in those other areas. And so that's just kind of a fun, kind of unique and creative thing that you can add and adjust with all the different tools here. Now, cinema is another category that I've really enjoyed. There's just so many cool things here. I love this look. And some of these are kind of desaturated, and you probably know that I like my big colors, but these kind of scenes sort of call for these interesting kind of different creative looks. And while I love to bump up my colors, as you may have seen in previous videos, I equally love exploring these different creative outlets or creative effects that you can apply. And there's so many here to choose from. I love this one. I think that's fantastic, and I love how the yellow basically changed to kind of that peach or orange color. So if you look at the before and the after, it's a subtle change. It's really just those yellow colors and a little bit of other stuff. But again, that's just some of the fun that you can have exploring all these different looks here in X6. This color films print category is pretty awesome. There's a whole bunch of Fuji stuff, and I've always heard people say how great Fuji is. I've never had a Fuji camera. As I said, I didn't really shoot film, but you know, a lot of these Kodak and Fuji things are pretty awesome. Like, I like that quite a bit. One thing I don't really like is grain, and I see some grain there. Well, there's a grain filter. You can come down here and adjust the strength or just hit reset to remove it. And now I've gotten rid of the grain, so I like the color look. Maybe again, I want to bump up the shadows a little bit, pull down the highlights, and just create a slightly different look to the photo. But I used that preset as a base and then went and made some customizations to kind of suit my taste. Again, I'm just kind of playing around, showing what you can do, but you've got a lot of power and a lot of flexibility. You can also save these customizations and name them as your own presets. And in fact, at the very top here, you can see they're categorized by color. If you click on that, let me just close that. There's all the color ones, black and white. Then you can fave them and of course create some user ones. I haven't done any of that yet, but I'm still playing and having a lot of fun, and I will be getting there. I'm also a fan of this color film vintage. As I said, I like vintage looks, and I've used Analog Effects Pro, part of the Nik collection, for that kind of thing a lot in the past. But there are so many things. You can see there's frames. I may not like that frame necessarily, but once again, you can come over here. Let me close the basic panel and let me get into overlays, and that's where frames are, and here it is. They call it borders, but once again, you can come in here and say, you know, I want a film border because this is kind of a film look, and then you can swap that out and adjust it accordingly. So again, lots of power, and you can zoom to kind of shrink that, give a little bit more real estate to the photo itself. You can change blend modes. There's so many different options here and lots of different categories. I also personally kind of like grunge filters. I've used those in a lot of other products. That's just kind of fun to me. So again, I might zoom to create a little bit more real estate for the photo. I might take the opacity down a little bit, but I've got a really weathered looking kind of faded look, and I think that looks very much like an old film photo, you know, like an old print that you found in maybe your parents' attic that they took on their Route 66 road trip, you know, 50 years ago or whatever. You kind of get what I'm talking about. By the way, if you ever decide you don't like something, just hit reset down here and it'll send everything back to normal. It's also a cool category here, color miscellaneous effects. And you can kind of see as you hover, I mean, some of these are really cool. Blue and yellow, I think that goes great there. I just kind of love that look. I like this kind of warmer look, and I like this landscape pop. I would use these, of course, on other kinds of photos as well, not just Route 66, Americana, Abandon America, or whatever you want to call it. I would use it on a lot of different photos. And I like these down here. There's this saturated warm, and I like these different seasons. Here's a saturation, kind of cool. And then here's like an autumn look, which I think it has a nice little pop of kind of yellow. You've got this spring look, slightly different look, summer, and then of course winter as well. Again, just fun to experiment and kind of enjoy all the different creative options that you have. And the last category I'm going to show, and you can see there's tons of categories. We're not going to get to them all, and that's not really the point, but I love this lo-fi category. It's got light leaks, so I mean, you just get all these cool things like that. I think the colors pop, the light leak I think looks really cool. This one is pretty awesome as well. A bigger light leak, a little bit more heavy-handed, and by the way, if you like that, but it's a little too much, you do have an intensity slider up here, which is basically opacity. So you can just reduce that and just have a smaller impact on the photo with the preset that you chose. So you get some great customization options, which is obviously very cool. I think that one's pretty awesome. I'm just kind of popping through these. I think this is pretty neat. I love light leaks. And this one is fantastic. I think it just really fits the photo. It looks like the sun, of course, is coming in. So endless creative fun that you can have, just kind of messing around, for lack of a better word. Let me show you one other thing you can do, which I think is fun. So I'm going to go in this color films slide, and I'm going to grab this Fuji Velvia 50, which just looks fantastic. There's the before, and there's the after. Now I've done nothing else except apply that preset, but the other cool thing you can do is you do have layers here in X6. So you can just click up here on the right-hand side, the layers panel, click on add layer, and now I've got another layer, and I can go get another preset or look and stick it on top of this one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get over here back to this bokeh category, and I'm gonna get that tilted oval. And so there you go, I've got that tilted oval look on top of the base look. And now you can turn layers on and off with this little button right here. I could turn off the bottom on if I'd prefer, and that actually looks quite good. But I'm gonna leave them both on, and again, you can adjust the intensity, but you can also come in here and adjust the various tools or apply them in addition to the tools that are already built into the preset. So in this case, I might come in and I would probably lift those shadows a little bit and maybe pull up the black some as well, just because it feels a little bit dark to me. And then on the bokeh filter, I would probably come in here and move this oval as I showed you before. You see how you can collapse it and spin it around, things like that. I'd probably move this a little bit, maybe pull in that kind of gradient zone where the blur occurs, and maybe lengthen this oval, something about like that. Maybe, I don't know, I'm just kind of winging it here and just kind of having fun. Obviously every photo is different, and now that I've done that, I think I'm actually going to expand that a little bit more and expand that a little bit more so you get more of that restaurant sign. You've got a lot of customization options here. I'm going to go ahead and close the bokeh tool, and there you go. I was able to take a photo that was like that, and with a couple of quick presets, an additional adjustment layer, just turn it into that. So literally hours of fun. It works on lots of different kinds of photos. I'm using, you know, this kind of abandoned America kind of look, which I like quite a bit, and I shoot as much as I can anytime I come across it. But the point is, this is really something in X6 I didn't really expect to use or even care about, and I find myself using it quite a bit, playing around with a lot of photos, and that's all these presets, especially these film looks, and the fact that you have the ability to further customize and do things like the overlays and the bokeh and, you know, the light leaks and the scratches, all that kind of stuff. Honestly, just hours of fun. If you're like me and you're kind of nerdy about editing photos and just like to kind of hack around and experiment, this is a good product for that. And as I said kind of before, it reminds me of Analog Effects Pro. However, it's actually better than Analog Effects Pro because it has all the power of Lightroom, plus it has layers, plus it has things that are similar to Analog Effects Pro. So as much as I love Analog Effects Pro, I think I'll be doing these kind of things in exposure more so going forward, simply because you have so much customization options here with the adjustment layers, all these presets, plus all the additional tools. You don't have to go from one tool to the other. You can get a lot done right here in X6. And that's one of the reasons I'm having fun with it and enjoying it and giving it some consideration as a replacement for Lightroom for me. And the funny thing is, the more I play with these different tools, the harder it becomes for me to figure out which one I'm going to use to replace Lightroom. But as I may have said in previous videos, I'm not in a hurry. Even though I'm going to replace Lightroom, I'm going to keep paying the monthly. I'm not trying to get rid of the fee. I just don't like the whole library catalog that you've got to import photos and build this like database thing. I don't want to do that. I just want a file browser, and that's another thing that Exposure X6 does quite well. It's fast, it's powerful, there's a lot of creative options. That's what I'm liking about Exposure X6. Hope this gives you some ideas if you want to check it out. There is a link below. Thank you, my friends. Have fun editing out there. I'll see you really soon. Take care of yourselves, and adios.